BrightenedAffinityCommunity.
Hi, I'm Dex, and you know exactly what time it is when I whip out one of these videos. It's book time. So I'm going to be talking about the books that I've read in the month of February and the books that I want to read in the month of March. Now, I'm not going to lie, last month was kind of a slow reading month. I only managed to read 4 books, but I wanted to take my time and enjoy these books. I didn't want to rush, and I set myself too many books to actually read. So let's just get started. The first book that I ended up reading and finishing was Little Women. I'm pretty sure I started reading this at the end of January, but yeah, I finished Little Women. I gave it 5 stars. Such a beautiful book. I watched the 2019 version of Little Women at the beginning of this year, and as soon as I watched it, I wanted to read it. And I've got to say it's a lot different from the movie. But there's still things that kind of line up in a sense. And one of the things is, and here's a spoiler, if you haven't watched Little Women, I'm specifically talking about the 2019 version, when Laurie and Joe are walking about and Laurie was like going to ask Joe to marry him, oh my god, I was in tears. But yeah, 5 stars, such a beautiful book, and yet again another English classic ticked off. Then I moved on to a different type of genre of books. I'm trying to organise these. And this was called Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. And these books actually have changed a lot. For me, I want to try and explain this as best as I can. But so I rated this one 4 stars, 4 stars and 5 stars. These books talk about going back to the past. There's a specific chair that you can sit in, and you can sit in that chair, but you have to go back to the past, or you can go back to the future. Sorry for yawning. And one of the things that I found so interesting about this is there's so many rules. Like, you can't leave the seat. There's a ghost in the seat. You can't forcefully move her or him, because in the book it changes and it goes to a guy at a certain point. You can't move them. And you can't change, when you go back to the past, you can't change the present. And I think that's beautiful. So each book tackles a different scenario. There's 4 or 3 stories in each of these. And they're beautiful. But the reason I give Before Your Memory Fades 5 stars is because it tackles grief, and every single story goes back to somebody either meeting a dead person or going to the future to talk to a person before they die. And the one thing that sticks out about this book is, first of all, when you this book has you thinking, if you were to go back to the past, what would you do? But you know that you can't change the present. But this book in particular talks about 100 questions. It's if the world was to end tomorrow, what would you do? And I think that was beautiful. And you only have 2 options. Oh my god. You only have 2 options. And I think, yet again, that's beautifully done, and it really had me thinking. So this one is so far my favourite out of the book series. Continuing on, we're now going to go to what I want to read throughout this month. There is quite a lot of books. I'm going to try and tackle as much of these as possible. But first of all, I want to finish off the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. I'm currently reading Before We Say Goodbye. I'm only 20 pages in. It's only 100 and something pages. I don't know. But I want to finish that. And then Before We Forget Kindness is another book that I want to read. Just because, yet again, it's a part of the book series, and I want to finish this. And as I said last month, the other books that I want to read is The Library Cat by Alex Howard, because I read The Ghost Cat last year. This book's only short as well. It's 100 and something pages. I'm just going to say 195 pages. But yes, and as always, I want to do some English classics as well. So the first book I want to read is The Count of Monte Cristo, but what I'm going to do is, this book is hefty. There is over 1,000 pages in this book. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to start it, but I'm also going to divide it with when I'm reading like books in between. I'm going to make sure that this book is getting read so I can make progress before I actually like want to sit down and lock in and read it all. But yeah, this one seems pretty hefty. I'm excited, and I think this is about wrongful imprisonment, so I'm excited to read this. I also have, because what I realised is I fell in love with her writing. Jane Austen's two other books, which is Emma and Sense and Sensibility. I also want to watch the movies of these, and I want to read them first before I tackle the movies. And this one's also very flimsy, so I'm excited. We then have Frankenstein, and I have the hardback one. I don't know why I've done this to myself. I think it's super pretty, and I really want to read this as well. I might not get through all these in the month of March, which means I'm obviously going to carry them on into the month of April. And we have East of Eden by John Steinbeck. I've heard good things about this book, and I really loved Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, so I'm really looking forward to tackling this one. Then we have another big English classic, which is Dracula. Yet again, super excited to read this. It's quite a hefty book, but you know what? This is the whole point of reading, is to get into it, I suppose. And the final two books that I want to read are 1984 by George Orwell. This got recommended to me by a friend. Yet again, I'm super excited to read it. I done a bit on George Orwell in high school. I done a bit of his essay work. Or it was used for my essay. So I'm excited to try and get through this book. Hopefully I get through it this month. And finally, we have Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. This got turned into a movie. And honestly, I was just kind of looking for another like English classic book to read, and this one stood out. And it was the only one that I could really like recognise. Like, I don't obviously recognise all of the other ones. Like, The Count of Monte Cristo I just picked up and didn't realise it was a hefty book. But yeah, this is going to be another one that I want to read. Yet again, I'm not going to get through all of these books in the month of March, possibly. But my main goal for this month is to finish off the Before the Coffee Gets Cold and start and finish the Library Cat, and then get into The Count of Monte Cristo. But you know what's going to happen. The reason I didn't update in the middle of February is because I barely read. This month I'm going to try so hard to get a video done halfway through the month of March, and then we'll see how much I've read then. But as always, you're doing amazing. I'm proud of you. You've got this. And stay tuned for episode 4 of my book review.